How is everybody?
All right. It's been crazy around
Good.
here. We've had a good
Yeah.
4+ avalanches and power outages and road closures. It's been crazy out here.
Oh
Wow.
gosh.
So I've been busy this week. And it's sad because we live in a valley where there's only two ways to get in. There's a road up north to get into the valley, and there's a road down south. And with all the avalanches, we've basically been trapped in here. And some other people, if they
Lovely.
commute out of the valley for their jobs, they got stuck overnight. And their kids, luckily, our daycares opened up for overnight service so that the kids could have a place to stay while their parents were stuck at their jobs. It was really sad.
Oh, that is sad.
That reminds me of
Crazy.
that movie, Seven Brides and Seven Brothers.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
Really? You haven't seen it?
Yeah, they cause a big avalanche, so the girls can't go home. It's funny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
old show.
I love
I've
that
heard of it.
movie.
People talk about it all the time. I'm not into old-timey musicals for some reason, so I don't go
Me
out of my
neither.
way to see them.
They're not everybody's thing. It's all good.
I mean, they're fun when I do eventually watch them. I'm just not gonna seek them out.
Yeah.
So thanks for your videos, Deanna, for this week.
Yes, and I'm so sorry I didn't get the rest of them pulled off. We took a 11-hour drive in the past 2 days, so
Oh,
it's been
wow.
fun.
Oh.
Back in Arizona now, but we were up in Salt Lake, in Utah County area. But I did find a couple of sites that I was going to create a video out of, so I'll share those with you guys if you want.
Okay.
This
That'd be
one
good.
helps on the touch start. The hardest thing is that like the mobile devices automatically change the buttons for you. So when you tap a button on your device, it'll automatically let you click it, no matter if you've told it to recognize the touch start. So
And I've noticed some websites don't, because I
do
built
they?
a real estate website that had a picture slideshow, and I had to do the whole on touch event for that
Okay.
because to get the slideshow working, it wouldn't do it.
Maybe
Did
it's
you
just
try other browsers?
what was that?
Did you try other browsers?
Well, it was on my husband's smartphone, so I was using Safari, like on the
Oh,
iPhone.
okay.
And I feel like it's best to make it, even if it works on one browser, if it doesn't work on the other one, you need to get it working for both. You can't just
Yeah.
say, oh, it works on this browser, so we don't
Yeah.
need on-touch events. But,
Yeah.
Safari might not register that. So it's good to cover your bases and make sure it works on all browsers,
Yeah, that's a good
depending on
thing.
who's visiting your website or who's visiting your app.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the website. Thank you for that, because I didn't realize that. I wonder if it's just the button function thing, the basic button in the browser. Maybe that's all that
Mm-hmm.
switches over, because that's what I was
And I've noticed
testing.
that Chrome is a lot nicer when it comes to accepting all kinds of formats. But the
Yeah.
most common browser used on iPhones is Safari, so it's good to have
Yeah.
it working for both.
That's good to remember.
Like when
I'll
I
try
build
that out. I
those,
don't have an iPhone, so
yeah, when I build my websites, I borrow my husband's iPad and I kind of have it next to my computer as I work so I can refresh it
smart.
on both sides and test it
That's really
because
smart.
I run the Safari on the iPad. But yeah, and I've
Yeah.
just noticed it doesn't work everywhere. I wish it did. I wish
Yeah.
everything was just universal.
It would be nice, right?
Does
Mm-hmm.
iPhone have an app for the computer? I know Android does.
Like a run your Android apps on the computer kind of thing.
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay, because those Android app things are open source. They're made by like people who make it, so Android runs on the computer. But I think when it comes to iOS, they're pretty more locked down. They're not open source. You're stuck
Okay.
with what you get, so I doubt it. I'll look it up right now. Because I've
Yeah.
hacked Android before and I had to use my computer to do so, but I've never been able to pull off anything on a Apple.
Yeah, I've never used Apple before. I fixed other people's phones, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just found an article. There's no easy way to run iOS on your computer unless you have like a Mac
Yeah. And
or play apps on your computer. It's just you would have to find some kind of hacked or possibly virus infected software that someone has made,
yeah,
a
that
torrent
wouldn't
or
be so
something, and
fun.
that's just not safe.
No. Not so much fun on that. Goodness. I have a Mac and I don't have an iPhone, so I'm like, it's kind of fun trying to transfer files
Oh,
to my phone. But I did find a good transfer program
and
that
there's
I can use.
iTunes. iTunes is available on Windows, so you can
Yeah,
use that.
yeah. And that's pretty helpful. But for
Yeah, I'm
whatever
such a
reason,
PC person because I need a USB port. I cannot stand that iPads and things don't give you a USB port.
yeah, it's super annoying. And it would be nice if they actually put those in, because I know with like Surface Pro, they've got them now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. Get with the times, Apple. Come on.
I agree with that.
Oh goodness. Well, anyways, so the tutorial that I found, it helped with like making sure you put in the add event listener, which he has said that he wants in there. He didn't
Okay.
specify if he wanted it for like the on-click stuff, but you can do that as well. And
Okay.
here's I had some trouble with the add event listener, so I found a YouTube video for it, which is the second link in the chat, that really explained it. He goes over 2 ways to do it in the beginning, like the old way and then the semi-old way, and then at the end of the video, he shows you the way everybody does it now. I'm like, could you just show me the one way? I don't need to know all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But so for the touch start and touch end, it's just putting in the add event listener and having another function that controls that touch. It's kind of like a handler function in the tutorial that it says, and just making sure if they're tapping, then it's like a mouse up or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that helps. I'm still wrapping my head around it.
That's fine.
If you want to get really technical, there's one that actually created a little box that you could drag along a line. I found. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to recreate that in my own code, so.
Yeah, I had problems with I basically had to teach myself all of the triggering animations, like creating animations and transitions in CSS. I had never done that stuff, so I had to basically teach myself all of it. My videos are basically following the W3 tutorials
Right?
and
No,
explaining
those are
them
mine
with some
too.
slight alterations to make it more like for our class.
Yeah.
But when it comes to making
No,
the code, I have not submitted for that topic yet. It's
yeah.
really complicated for me.
I did the same thing with mine when I did the animations for JavaScript. I just went to W3 and I'm like, I'm doing this. The only thing that I changed on that was that they did a click button for the animation, and I just did onload instead, because that way it started itself. I wanted to make it so that it would go back and forth, but I was like, I don't have time for this. This is
Oh,
what it
there's an
looks
easy way to
like.
make it go back and forth. If you look through my
Yeah.
videos, there's just a
Okay.
certain, if you just put it in its like class property and it's just like, you can do it
Nice.
forwards, backwards, or you can put it on repeat and that way it'll like go back and then forward and back and forward. And there's
Yes.
an actual class property. And I covered in my third video, I think,
Oh, awesome. I will take a
Yeah, I
look at
think I
that.
remember
or the
seeing
second.
Yeah. I'm going to try and get caught up on code this week. I haven't done other than the videos, and yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. The stuff for the videos. I'm like,
that. Yeah,
I
I've
should
done
probably get on
4 or
top of
5
this.
today.
Yeah.
Not today, this week.
Yeah. I've got a quiz due today and a project for another class, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is going to be good.
This is such an
Yeah, I
easy class
basically
to
murder
put
my
on.
brain and cram 5 classes worth of stuff in the first 4 days of the week. And that gives myself
Yeah.
a weekend. But man, am I burned out. I'm so
Oh,
done.
seriously. Yeah.
This is an easy class to put off.
It
Yeah.
is. And I'm
Yeah,
killing
it'll catch us.
I'm beating myself here. I'm like, you knew this at the beginning of the semester. You promised yourself you wouldn't do this. And now you're doing it. Good job.
Oh.
Because I've
And that's where I
been,
feel like I'm bad because like I'm cramming Like when it comes to my submissions, I do all the work that one day. I do 4 classes worth. I do all the work in one single day, submit. And I'm like, okay, now I don't have to touch this class for 2 weeks until my feedback comes. And then I take another day and do 4 more topics. I just cram and cram.
That's, my problem is that I get distracted by the other classes. And I set up a schedule. I set up a schedule where I only work on certain classes on certain days of the week. And I tell myself, you can only do these classes. And then we had to travel to Utah, and I'm like, it's kind of just, I'm keeping up with it. I haven't, I missed one assignment. It was a discussion assignment though, so it wasn't a big deal in a class. And I'm like, I should probably maintain a calendar that actually I follow. That's what I don't like about iLearn. I love Canvas. I've used Canvas for other schools, and Canvas like actually grays out the assignments that you've completed.
That's nice.
I know.
Because like coming up on Saturday today, it's like you have this due, like all this stuff is all of a sudden due, and I'm like, no, I am pretty sure I did that.
I know. And then you're double checking and triple checking, and at like 10 p.m. you're like, did I get everything?
I forget about the check boxes.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, well, I do the check boxes, and then I have this rainbow planner of death where I have color-coded everything. I list which classes are which colors so I can remember what discussion board I'm in. I cross them out as I go. The only downfall to this is that my children love it as a coloring book, and I get scribbles all over everything. But otherwise, it keeps me on task, and then I can write out when I want to do things versus when they're due, and that way I know when they're done.
Yeah, that's what I did with my Google Calendar.
Everyone thinks I'm crazy because I do it physical, but for some reason I cannot stand digital calendars. I don't know why.
You're fine. It's been driving me nuts. I mean, I've gotten used to it because I'll go in and I'll put the title in, what class, and then I'll put done at the front of it when I finish, so that I know just looking at it, it'll be done. But I'm a person who can't stand taking typed notes. So I understand your physical pen and paper.
I need to write it down if I'm going to remember it.
I need to write it down. Yes, it's weird. Like I can take notes on a computer, and I did for my semester at LDSBC, but like it just, I can't do it. I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like with that networking class that we're in, I started out by I'll just copy and paste the textbook. Then I would go into the test and say, like, I have no idea what's going on. I went through all the material and test out, but I don't know what this quiz is about. So I'm
not the only one.
I've had to start really take physical notes, or else I can't go into a quiz anymore. Yeah. I was doing really bad the first couple classes, just thinking I could read it and be ready.
What's interesting is my brother is the head curriculum developer for all of BYU Idaho. And he said that test out class is just an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Like it's not at all where they want it to be. There's no discussion forum. First of all, they don't want to outsource to test out like they are.
Yeah, and I really dislike it because the exams, when we go into an exam, half of the questions aren't even on the material we covered. And so we're going in blind. And then we get horrible grades until the teacher says, oh, there were some questions that should have been covered. And remember, I told you I had a B+, and then I got raised to an A. Well, for some reason, today it dropped back down. And I'm really mad
because
I supposedly had an A, and it dropped.
He took off questions that he felt, which it might have been my fault. I apologize if it was. But he took off questions about I can't remember what it was. Is summary routing for the IP addresses. And he took off the questions because he felt that they weren't covered enough in the material. And I'm like, if they weren't covered enough in the material, could you have taken them out to begin with?
Yeah. Every time we have the weekly feedback, I put in, get these exams reorganized because they don't cover our material, and we're going in and getting horrible grades. And
you know what? I don't think it's fair because we're going into this saying, oh, well, we're going to get half the test wrong anyway because the questions are all wrong and they're for other material. And so we're psyching ourselves out, and it's super annoying. Hang on one second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's fine. And I've been hearing some pretty bad complaints about the just online degrees for computer information technology in general, because like I've heard people saying we're basically self-teaching ourselves, especially in this 261 class. Why are we paying for a course when we're learning through W3 schools? And I want to know your guys' feedback on that.
I've taken that class, and that's where I got a lot of my help as well. And I looked on YouTube videos outside of the course curriculum all the time.
I guess I'm just having a hard time seeing why we're in a degree and we're paying for these courses, and there's this class where we rarely get feedback from our teacher, or we're expected to self-teach ourselves and teach in our groups when I'm paying an instructor. And it'd be different if we're on campus, right?
It would be.
Yeah, because you always have this instructor right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I get having a couple of projects that he wants us to teach each other, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I feel the same way, because I've always done online classes. And so other than that semester at LESBC, which was all religion courses anyway, so it's a little bit different with that. But I would prefer watching a lecture from a teacher explaining something and having office hours where we all go and we listen to them explain. Like in my my database class, that's what our teacher did. He would record the office hours and post them for everybody who missed it. And he would go through like step by step what you need to do with setting it up. And for me, I'm a visual learner. If you can teach me visually, I can do it. Mm-hmm. But if I have to read a textbook or try to read articles about it, I have a hard time understanding.
Yeah, and I think it varies class to class, because I have my object-oriented programming class, and that's very much read the textbooks, learn the thing, but the professor makes himself constantly available. You can set up a meeting time and he'll work with your group and teach you step by step and give you instructions, so it's okay. We're learning Java ourselves, but we have that actual support we're paying for, and he's teaching us and making sure he's available and having class meetings. And then I have classes where, like the test out one, we don't hear from him until it's exam time and exam messes up. We're not being taught anything. We're teaching ourselves. And it's a very complicated subject to teach ourselves.
It is. And it's not open book, which I understand. They don't want us cheating and using the book and not learning a thing. But if you've got so much information from so many different classes that you have to memorize in 1 week, I'm sorry.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Have you guys used the tutor program at all?
I have. It's been good. I had to use it for my communication class, and after that I was like, I'm using it for all my other classes, but all my other classes don't have tutors available, so I can't.
Yeah, I used the tutor in my other class, and it's nice, but you have to schedule it a day in advance.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to it, then you pretty much solved it on your own.
Yeah. It is annoying that way. Yeah. I guess there's no perfect system, and yeah, they had to just revamp and move to Brightspace, but
I just got to be thankful that there is an online option. Otherwise, I wouldn't be getting a degree right now. And I looked at a lot of schools, and BYU Idaho is the only one that offers these degrees all online. Like, I don't have to go to campus or anything, so I have to be thankful instead of I can complain, and hopefully they improve it from my complaining. But otherwise, I'm going through it. I have to do it.
I know.
They're all new as well, so they pretty much getting feedback from us what we think, and
yeah.
But they need to be able to revamp while we're taking the classes.
Yeah. It would have been helpful in this networking class to have it, at least the exams revamped, but I can see what they're saying with the test pro stuff. If it's hard to kind of convert that over, and if the questions aren't similar to what is on the actual certification, I totally understand where he's coming from. He's trying to get us ready for that, but I feel like he's okay with us failing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know I've emailed him like 3 or 4 times after quizzes, just telling him I don't understand how I got this grade. I studied. I've spent 15 hours in this class a week. I cannot. I reread, I rewatch. And the
Yeah.
questions are nothing like the practice questions. So
And it's the closed book thing you're talking about. Like I have another class, my securities class. It's closed book exam, but you get 2 chances on it. So you take it the
yes.
first time, and if you fail it completely, the second time it doesn't have the same questions, so you can't cheat. You can't like save your questions from the last time you took it and use them
Yeah.
again. It actually brings up all new questions for your second
Yeah.
chance. So that way you have, oh, here's what I need to study. I failed my first time. Now I know what I need to study. Then you take it the second time, closed book, and you're more prepared.
I
I like
loved
that way
that
better. If you're going
about
to do closed book, you should do it that way.
Yeah, I loved that about the security class. I took it too, and I got a C plus out of it, I think. So I still didn't do very good, but it was so helpful to have that second test. So I'm okay. I'm okay with closed book if you do it that way.
Because and especially with the test out, because we don't know what we're going into. We don't know what kind of questions are coming up.
Yeah, and test out it. You only get so many practice questions to work with, and it doesn't review all the information. So
And it gives you the answers, so you can just redo it, know the
yeah,
answers.
right.
100%.
Yeah, so that
In
makes
my
sense.
other class, we have a practice test, but when you do the final test, all the answers are completely different.
Okay, that's
So it's like,
that's the
there's
hard
just so
thing.
much
Is it like
material.
is it covering the same material though as in the practice questions?
Kind of, but most of it is completely new.
Uh,
There's just
see,
so much material to go over and to
yeah.
remember.
Maybe a good suggestion for the networking class is to have him create a prep guide for the tests and be like, okay, here's what you want to learn about. Here's what
Yeah.
you want to focus on. And that would be helpful. That and knowing that and getting feedback on your quizzes and getting the right answers for the questions you got wrong. Because I'd really like to know what I got wrong.
Yeah, that's what's dumb too, is that if we only get one chance, we should be given the answers so that we can see where we got it wrong. Instead, we're going in blank slated and we're leaving blank slated. It doesn't help.
No.
And you don't learn anything from it.
No, you don't.
I
And
just go in,
so,
oh, I failed. Well, I don't know what I got wrong, so I have to go
Yeah.
with what I know.
yeah. I've got that quiz coming up today, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, be
But I
careful.
studied. Yeah, I know.
Like I read through
Your
the
message.
questions so many times to try and nitpick, because you have to like define one of like kind of like the test out. You have to see which ones are valid IPv6 addresses, and
Okay.
man, they made it really picky. And I would definitely look into. And test out has those little quizzes that help you know what a valid IPv6 is. Definitely go over those.
Okay.
Because they snuck in some double colons and some other things that are
Oh,
really
yeah.
hard to read.
I
So
was
that's where I have
looking at
problems.
that in the material, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun. Trying to make sure I get this right.
So be really nitpicky on
Thank
that subject. That's the one I got wrong for this one because I thought it was right and then it was guessed wrong. But I don't know which one was wrong. It's sad. Like I chose the ones I thought were right and it gives me no right answer. I'm like, well, then which one of these is wrong? Because they all look so similar.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad.
Yeah, it would be helpful. I have emailed him and gotten feedback for the quizzes on the wrong answers. He'll
Okay.
send me stuff about it. So if you want to ask him, he doesn't give you the right answer. He just has you go and review the section, but he'll give you a little bit more of a hint, which is still frustrating, but
That's bad.
yeah.
And then with this class, like I just recently got my feedback for my last submission. I think he's getting better because I remember my first submission, he's like, it's wrong or you copied or something. It was so vague. But this time, my last submission I got the disagree, I got the grade. And then he put in, hey, let's expand it. And then he gave me like good bits of code and really good feedback. So I think he's
That's
getting
good.
better because I got some great feedback this last one where I still got the good grade. And then he's like, let's expand upon this. Here's what you should add. And here's how to do it. Like he was really good versus what I've been getting earlier this semester.
That's great.
So
That's good.
I think he's been taking feedback the right way.
I'm planning on requesting assessment this week, so for my second.
Good luck. I'm on my third for this week. I feel like I'm mean to him because as soon as I get feedback, I'm putting another submission. I'm probably doing it more than I'm supposed to be.
Well, he's not complaining, so.
No, he's actually even asked me in one of my feedbacks. He's like, I'm kind of worried the class isn't submitting as much as I think they're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's
Like, he mentioned that to me. So I guess I'm on track if I get that comment.
Well, everyone thinks they're going to get in trouble if they submit more than once every 2 weeks.
yeah.
I think
that's
the general
big
rule is
thing.
he said that time space is mainly for him to have a chance to grade them, you know? So once you get feedback, you should be set to get working on your next set of code.
Yeah.
So like I submitted Tuesday and I got my feedback today. So I'm going to start working on my code this next week. Even though that's not
Nice.
2 weeks waiting, I'm doing it basically weekly because he's grading it weekly. So that's up to him now.
Hey, yeah, if he's gonna do it.
That's great. Well, you had some great examples on yours, Kaylee. I liked your object creation. That was very clever.
Yeah.
I'm sad I couldn't make it as cool as yours, but I just put something together.
As cool as mine. I wish I could make one as cool as yours.
I like that yours can build a car. Mine was just an adventure. Characters. It was just object, and then I don't know. I had my husband do it this morning. I showed it off to him, and he was mad at me when he clicked the start adventure button, and it's like everyone died. There was no point to doing this.
yeah, I was too. I was gonna email you on that. I was like, come on.
Teacher didn't get at me for it. I just put it in there to be mean. It wasn't even dealing with the assignment at all. I could have left it out,
Sure.
but I had fun.
That's funny.
It was very cool. I thought it was awesome. I probably should have put a
Thanks.
speed limit on my car, huh? So you don't go 600 miles per hour.
800 as I was clicking. High score.
I could have put a limit on there so
Yeah.
that when it gets to a certain point, you just go back in time. You know, like the 88 miles per hour, like on Back to the Future.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. That would be awesome.
You travel back in time to 1978.
that'd be funny.
Yeah, if you
Yeah, I'm
create a
silly. I have to make my
space bar-
projects fun. If I'm just doing flat code, I had to put in something silly to make it fun again.
Of course.
That's the point of it, right? It's you're supposed to have fun.
So a couple of apologies here. I misread the schedule and thought that I wasn't due for XML HTTP requests for at least a couple of weeks after, and then I found out, oh no, that was due the previous week. So I guess I won't get a good grade on punctuality.
Uh-oh.
But
you'll
anyway,
learn.
You can help your grade because for my punctuality, I've now created my own calendar, stealing from ours. I like copied it and made my own. And for that, I put down, I'm going to finish this topic by this day. So rather than just videos, make sure you schedule when you're going to code your topics and when you're going to submit them for assessment. And that way you can show him you're hitting your deadlines. So just
Good
make
idea.
sure to set your own schedule. I'm going to have this topic finished by this day, and I'll submit it with this topic on this day, kind of thing.
cool.
And that's what I'm doing so that I have more than just my videos to prove punctuality.
Then when I went in to research the topic, I found it was a lot more complicated than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I had to make 2 videos on it. But anyone get a chance to look at it?
I just went through your object one recently. I don't remember that one too well. I used your object video for mine.
Okay.
Work. I need to go through yours still for the next topic. That's the topic I'm doing this week, so I can give you feedback when I start coding it.
Sounds good.
And I haven't gone through many of the videos yet. I think I've gone through 1 or 2. So I'll give overall feedback at the end of the week or something.
I'll go through them if I'm working on that topic for the week.
Yeah.
So I haven't gone through that one yet.
That's my plan.
Something I noticed about JSONs, Kaylee, is that if you try to convert an object to a JSON and that object has methods within it, it will strip away the objects. Did you know that? So
I did not.
Yeah. It'll take that out. So when you parse it again, it will just have the properties.
Mm.
So, because let's see, I just did the local storage API, and for that, it's required to have an object get stored and returned. And so I think I just did an array though, like this person dot age is what I did for my object, and it stored and returned pretty well. And he counted it. I got the good grade on that parse and stringify for the object. I haven't tested it with methods though. It was basically just a array.
Oh, just an array.
I stored.
Yeah. If you have any methods within it, it won't do it. It'll strip it out.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was.
I'll do some research right now.
Yeah, so it just should have the array itself. So I won't have the keywords or anything as well. I just did my JSON code this week.
Yeah, I guess the JSON is like the easiest code we have to submit. I don't know if you guys have looked at my example. I gotta strongly agree on here's how you store. You
Awesome.
click it and it returns it. It's like that's seriously a 2-line code. So I'm
Nice.
guessing that's probably the easiest one we have to submit because I just did make a list. Here's it stringified. Here's it brought back. Hooray! That's all it is. You click one button, it does the process, and I got an agree on it. So
Awesome.
it must be an easy enough one.
Yeah, it was
submit
pretty
for.
easy. I did it last night while I was watching Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, they just put all 3 of those onto Hulu. We're excited to watch them.
Yeah.
I got so excited. My mom and I watched them like 2 months ago. They came on Amazon Prime, and I was like, yes! Finally, we rewatched the Star Wars movies, all 7 of them, and then we watched Indiana Jones after that, and I'm like, this was a good month.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Netflix has that deal with Disney, so we're getting Doctor Strange soon on there. Moana's going to go on there soon.
Are we getting Doctor
good.
Strange? I still haven't seen Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's going on. It's going up pretty soon. We've already got the Captain America Civil War and Finding
Yeah.
Dory and stuff. So like a few months after release, we get them on Netflix. So that I'm excited. They can watch Doctor
So-
Strange again.
Nice.
I'm excited to see it. I wanted to go to the theater, but I just haven't had time. Plus, I don't know, with all the like kind of Inception type buildings and stuff, my brain.
Oh, it got me sick. It got me so dizzy in theaters. On top
It's a
of all
good
the
thing I
doctor
didn't go
stuff
then.
that I can't handle. And so like brain surgery, so I got so grossed out. But it was still fun.
Gosh.
It was still a fun film.
Oh, good.
It was
Good.
definitely a
guys-
lot darker. It felt different than the other Marvel films.
Yeah.
So what are you showing us, Jonathan?
Oh, this is just my stringify code. You push the save button. Yeah, I'll demonstrate it. So you push the save button here. It shows you the array. And it saves it, and then you click the show. It'll load what was saved, and it'll show the array again.
Oh, nice.
But here's
Cool.
my code. It's pretty simple too, and just a couple of functions.
That is helpful.
Yeah, I'll show mine in a second. I did find the answer to the JSON stringifying methods for objects.
Mhm.
The answer I found is objects with values that can be objects, arrays, strings, numbers, and booleans. Anything else will be ignored or throw errors. Functions are not supported in the entity of JSON. JSON handles pure data only. Functions are not data, but behavior with more complex semantics kind of thing. So you got to make sure you set values because that's what JSON stringify and parse will work on.
Okay.
So that's the answer I found for that.
So that means that we cannot stringify a method and then upload that to a server and then recover that method.
Yeah.
You'd probably have to load it in a different way.
Is jQuery the same kind of thing as JSON, but different?
I don't know.
jQuery is a whole nother library that you can use to create. It just adds other functions, and it's a pretty large program. It's not a program, it's just a list of things that it handles.
Yeah, it's a library.
jQuery is a JavaScript library that allows you to define actions and behavior.
Yeah, that's it.
JSON is data, jQuery is functionality.
Okay.
That's
So here's
good
what
to
I
know
did
the
for
difference.
JSON parse and stringify. I just made it so you can make a list of whatever, kind of like all my other examples. And then I just
Yeah.
click it and it automatically stringifies it and parses it. But he did mention that because we do have to submit for JSON parse and stringify as well as local storage, like they're 2 separate topics. So I created that for JSON. And then I think he noticed how I used JSON and parse and stringify in here as well, my local storage. And that's why I got agree rather than just disagree, because I had kind of 2 examples for it. I had used it further than just the one topic.
Oh,
That's
that's nice.
what I was wondering, because I have a lot of the same functions in other areas, I was wondering if that was good or bad.
Yeah, because he noticed try to use as much as your knowledge will do for every single topic. So
Okay.
like this was just parse and stringify, but I of course used JSON as well in the local storage. And he made note of it and made my JSON go up twice rather than just to one topic. Like I didn't just to get it to disagree because I used JSON on my other topics as well. So I got agree. So no, if your application calls for it, add it, even if it's not required on this list. I think that's the point of the class, is that we're going to be accumulating all of these skills to use into one application. So if you think it should be there and you know how to use it, then use it.
It's like our functions and buttons. It talks about it in the first week, but we can use it on all of them.
Oh yeah, but you should be building functions for all of these. So it's like it's going in order because they kind of build up onto each other.
That's
like we
good.
learned this here, but we're going to be using it a lot here and here, especially this first stuff. So do not be afraid to use things more than once.
It'll be helpful. Get to reuse it and keep learning it.
Yeah.
If I do it more than twice, it's good.
So is there less or more code to learn the second half of the semester? Have you noticed?
Noticed what?
I don't know.
Like with the different topics, or
yeah. So like in the first week, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think we're learning less items. Like we aren't learning as many items as the first week, but
Probably
I think they're more difficult, so it kind of compensates. So.
And it builds onto it because, like I said, we're going to be using what we learned earlier in these simpler topics. Because I feel like HTML5 tags, video, audio, and canvas is really easy.
Yeah.
But that's later on in the weeks. And it's, once again, it's all based on the schedule we created for ourselves and how we self-teach ourselves and how we organize ourselves. You can make it easier or start harder.
Yeah.
I think he did say to start harder in the beginning, but I don't know.
I remember we were just told to kind of go in order based on the topics that previous students kind of gave us a list of order because of the fact that they build up onto each other. That it's better to go in order than to start harder or easier.
Yeah, you need all that first week to pretty much do any of these codes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure why the video and audio and canvas tags are at the end, because those
that was a little weird to me.
Yeah, those were really easy. I'm like, those are kind of things that you can put toward the front, but okay.
I guess it's just a matter of getting it in because we might be using them later on.
Yeah.
Make sure we know what we're doing.
Was the canvas explanation okay for you guys? There's several ways of doing it, and I mean, you can make a canvas that you can use on a touch screen and paint something too, but I figured just the basic one would work.
I haven't looked at that video yet, but I will.
And we can always go more in depth on our own, but if I think your video, it covers it, the basics, and that's kind of what we need, is a good template to start us off, because we need to be using these videos to create our own individual codes. So we should know the basics so that we can go more in depth later on.
Yeah. Okay, good.
But you guys have been doing great on your videos. I mean, they're simple to understand, and
Jonathan, have you seen mine yet?
I saw one of yours.
Okay.
Let me think.
The first one's the easier one.
Yeah, I did the whole object creation one.
No, I mean the XML HTTP request.
Oh, I haven't done that one yet.
I don't think I've seen that one either. I just saw the first one you did.
I tried to keep that one really simple, the Ajax, and I hope it was clear. It was kind of complicated for me.
So what is Ajax? I forgot. I've heard of it.
Ajax is pretty much a communication method to retrieve data from your server, and then you can use that data to display it in your web page. And so you can actually implement JSON with it to stringify things and you're going to place that stringify into, say, a text file. You're going to upload that text file to the server, and then you can, using JavaScript, recover that text file, parse it, and use it as a JavaScript object, and then update your web page.
So it's kind of like JSON, but it saves it to the server.
Well, Ajax isn't really JSON. Ajax is the communication with the server.
Okay.
JSON is just, it's how you make it into a usable object.
Okay.
So two different things, but they're used together quite frequently.
So Ajax isn't a cleaning solvent?
It doesn't do all end all, no.
No degreaser in there, right?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, thank you for
Well, thanks,
that
Dustin.
description.
That'll help me when I
Yeah,
go into that
thank you.
topic next.
No problem. If you want, I can go through some simple code on it, but it'll be the same code that's on the videos.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. It'll be good to see that video.
All right. Sure.
Yeah, so everyone's putting their videos on the discussion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for reminding me on that.
Yep. I hate scrolling through our chats to find the link, so thanks for posting them in
Yeah.
a central location.
Yeah, I
That's
did
what I tried
that
doing.
a few weeks ago. I was like, oh, I'll find all the videos. They're in the chat. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's a discussion board. That works.
So can you guys see my code well enough to read it?
Yeah.
Sometimes Hangout doesn't. So XML, Ajax, the way you refer to it is through an XML HTTP request object. That's what Ajax is. You're going to create a new variable with a new object of XML HTTP request. And then I made that global just because it makes it easier. But in this function, what we're doing is down here, this property, this is actually a property in the object. It's not a method when it comes into a new variable, but you're going to change it to a method. And this method is going to be executed when the communication and download from the server is complete. Now there's several properties in the object or in this request that brings the response into a different format. So like you see this text here that says this.response text. That is going to take the response from the server and move it into a string type format.
Okay.
There's also other ones like I can't remember if it's XML response or if it's response XML, but it brings back the response in an XML format, and therefore you'd have to have retrieved a file that is in the proper XML format or else it'll bring up an error. Okay. So now one thing that I had a lot of trouble with is that I could not get this property response text out of this function. Like I could not come down here and say document dot write XML HTTP dot response text. For some reason that I still don't know, that doesn't work. You have to call another function and pass over the response in that parameter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because it makes sense to me that if the object is set up to update the response text property, you should be able to just pull it out by looking at the attribute, looking at the property, but it doesn't work. I don't know exactly why, and I've even looked it up on forums, and that's what you have to do. So you have to create a handling function that you pass that parameter into, and then you can do something with it. Now the function here that says XML HTTP open, that is, don't think of that as you are opening a connection to the server. Think of it as you're setting up the connection. You are doing the settings for the connection. This first one, get, describes what type of connection you're going to do. There's two kinds, get and post. There's advantages to each one. Get has a data limitation, post does not. But for the most part, for this class, you're just going to use get. And then you need, in the second parameter, you need to put in the directory of the file you're trying to retrieve. I have it set up so that I can take input from the input box and retrieve that file. So that's why I've got the concatenated input there. And then the last parameter is true or false, and that describes if the connection is going to be asynchronous or synchronous. And basically what that means is asynchronous means that you can continue on with the code that you have running while the connection is being done on the server. If you do it synchronously, then running the code will stop until the connection is done. For the most part, you're just going to use asynchronous, so that third parameter is always going to be true.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the third one, the send method, that's going to actually make the connection to the server.
All right.
Awesome.
And when that connection is done, when it's good and all great and everything, this method up here is going to execute. So right here, you're just defining the method, what's going to happen, what's going to execute when the connection is done, and then you pass that variable down to be handled.
I like all of your comments. It
Yeah,
really helps.
very helpful.
Thanks.
I've been trying to do that on mine.
I'm bad at it. I never do it.
I am too.
And I don't know
just
why.
like, I'm the only one seeing this, so it doesn't really matter.
Now there's a couple properties in this connection, and you have to kind of just look up the code for what each number means. Like 0, 4, like you see here, means that the connection is complete or that it is ready. And other numbers mean different things. That's numbered 0 through 4, and then there's some other numbers like 200, 400 that mean different things about the connection. What you're looking for in these if statements is that when these properties equal that ready status, you go ahead and make the connection. So to demonstrate a little bit about what this can do, you use this most of the time to update your website without reloading the whole thing. So I can go here on my website and I can retrieve a car from the server. And that was done by communicating with my server, retrieving the file, parsing it, and exporting it.
Okay. And I've done this before in gaming, so it's cool to see it used here.
Yeah.
I think I get it.
So you can pull this information from the server without reloading your whole web page. Now, a YouTuber, I watched a lot of his videos and he helped me develop this, but this is a kind of a cool functionality where you can do this in real time without having to click a button.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's a little bit more complicated, but it's pretty cool for adding what's it called? Functionality, dynamic websites.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
So, and I've got that uploaded on my website, so you can look at that code if you want.
Thank you. That'll be really helpful. I like that example at the bottom.
Yeah. So that's the basics of Ajax. Don't think of it as JSON. JSON is something different. It just depends on what you want to do with the data you retrieve.
Yeah, JSON just changes the output and input parse.
Yeah.
Bye.
It just depends on what you want to do, and that determines whether or not you use JSON. This bottom example actually uses some PHP code. I don't know any PHP code. So the YouTube video that I watched really helped with that. But you can do other stuff if you know how to use XML format. But I don't have an example of that. And I don't really know how to do it.
Yeah, it's fine. This is great. Thank you so much, Justin. This is the topic I'm hitting this week, so
no problem.
I'm going to have a good base now to go off of.
Good.
I used to do a lot of XML. XML is pretty much just making your own code, basically making your own commands. It's hard to explain.
The way I understand it, XML is creating your own HTML tags.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But I don't really know what that means either. But sounds cool.
Yeah, I used to use it a lot in a business, and I remember things like HT, and it's been like 20 years though.
Kaylee, did you say you had some experience in PHP?
A little bit, just for my website. They made us modularize it, and I used PHP to pull up, like, I had my heading in just for my website in just like one file, and I used PHP to make it so I could use the PHP code on all of my website pages, and it would pull up that one heading file. So kind of similar to here.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
That's
same.
all I know about PHP is bringing up files rather than having, instead of copy and pasting that code for every single web page.
Yeah.
I use PHP to just have my heading, my footer, and my body content all in one file.
Yeah, I've got that same modularization as well.
But that's all I know about for PHP.
Okay.
I've been wanting to do that with my style sheets, so I don't have to keep pasting it in.
Oh, you don't have it modularized?
No, I haven't figured that out yet.
It's so much easier.
CSS style is pretty easy to keep that separate, I feel.
Yeah. It's so much easier to write these pages when you got the modularized.
You just kind of fill in the blanks and it does it all for you.
Yeah. We can make an edit to one file and change the look of every site, every page.
That's so nice. I still haven't done that to my own website. I should go in and do it.
I think Kaylee and I have both taken the same class.
I think we have.
Web front-end development, I think.
I used to use Dreamweaver, so it did the style sheets on its own. I just can't remember what the code was to do that.
Here, I'm bringing it up right now on my screen to help show you.
Okay.
In my front-end development class, I did the style sheets, but I mainly just did it for like coloring and stuff. But I need to come up with like a template, so it won't just so I don't have to recode it all. But
so here's my style sheet. It's just like HTML comma, then you do your classes just like you do with any CSS right here. And then in your main file, you'll just have a link style sheet, and the type is text-css. Then put in where it's referenced from. Mine's just style.css. And then that's all you do. And now it will link to that in my style sheet from now on.
Nice.
So if I change something here, it will now link to every single code that has this in the top. So instead of having style up in my head, I just link it to the style sheet. And it's the same for, like, here's my local storage. It has that style sheet link up here as well.
Yeah, my last job I was working
all the same style
with Plexus, and I actually was working with these style sheets, so I just forgot.
Yeah, you just look up. You can even just look up online how to link to a CSS style, and just save it as a .css file, and then you just reference it by its name. Like, there's my name right there.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, it's really easy. I love CSS.
So this is what mine looks like. I use that link will work well, but I've also got PHP linking, doing the same kind of thing. So when I am creating my website, this is all I see. All these PHP things are just links to other files, and then all I have to do is make the content, and it's just a lot easier.
Yeah, like unlike mine, you probably have your head. Like I have my head all right here, but you probably have your head in just one file, and you use PHP to use that one file to pull it out. And yeah, that's what I learned in the website. I just wanted to make this one a little simpler, so I didn't care about PHP with my other websites.
Well, thanks, you guys. That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
That PHP looks like Chinese right now, but
I don't know anything about it at all.
Well, I got to get going. I got stuff to do today. Family outing. Well, thanks you guys for everything.
All right.
Thanks. Talk to you next Saturday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.